Hey, welcome to Tolleson Mack podcast, day 2 over here. Want to thank the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. I want to thank Bo at Las
Especially
Vegas
Bo.
Events. Big shout out to Bo, for this room.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Trish. She helped out a lot, I think, to get this room. Hunter Koch, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, man.
H, they call you, huh?
H.
H. See, I learned all these different, the different names for everybody. So
I've got like 4.
Yeah, who knew that Speed's name was Ken?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know
That's the
that.
first for
You
me.
didn't know that?
See?
That's what I call him.
And freaking
Brandon
Caesar's,
would call him that all the time, so I'd call him that, you know?
Caesar's looking at us like we're dipshits.
And you don't even know his name. Shit.
Speed looks like a Ken.
He's like, oh, Ken back then over there? We're like, who?
Now it all makes sense, huh? Now it all makes sense.
It was just me and Benny there. He goes, "Oh, Ken was there," and I'm like, "No, I didn't see no Ken. I saw Speed, but I didn't know nobody else was there." He's like, "That's his name."
That's his name.
Blake
Oh.
and Sharon in the Halloween costume looked like a Ken.
It did, didn't it? Wasn't it sweet,
kid.
man?
That was
That was so sweet.
Kendall Crotch.
Ken.
All right, so we were talking a little bit about Step Brothers, but we'll move on. So how'd your roping go last night?
Man, we had a little bit of tough luck. I've lost a leg, got a no time. But one thing I learned a lot last year, we had 2 legs and a no time starting out last year, and I had one of the best NFRs ever for me. And I just learned it's a marathon, not a race. So,
Man, that's the best attitude I've probably ever had somebody sit down here at the NFR and give me right there.
We
Well,
had your partner on last night, and he was saying the same thing about you. What she loves about you is your positive attitude. I honestly agree. Like, I think you guys are fine. Your mistake was made in the round 1. Now you guys can just go after him again. You know how much money is in the day monies. 3 day monies. It's the same as an average win right there. So you guys are gonna be chipping away. You're one of the fastest teams out there. Look forward to watching you guys these next 9 rounds.
well, thanks. I learned a lot of that from Luke Brown. And it's funny because me and Luke lost a lot. The first year we roped, we ended up, I think Luke was the 16th in the world and I was 20th. And then the next year we roped, we were like 34th or 5th in the world. So we went down. And then the next year we made it, 14th and 15th. But through all that, like Luke was, like, he's a gladiator of team roping. He's, he just taught me how to like stay the course, and mentally, you always just thinking, keep going, keep working hard, and then it's gonna. So Luke taught me a lot of that mentality, and me and Cody have had a lot of talks about trying to implement that into our team too. So just like, I won second in the average last year on 9 head. I didn't want to miss, obviously, but there's a lot of team roping left.
A whole bunch of team roping. And I think that's the common denominator between a lot of people is just that positive attitude, right?
That's right.
You know how to catch feet. You could do it probably with your eyes closed and dropped your hand. It's the mental that gets in your way.
Absolutely.
So how many times to the NFR for you?
This is my 4th trip.
Gets different every time, or same nerves when you're back in the box?
So another thing I learned from Matt Sherwood, how to turn nervousness into excitement, use it to help fuel the fire kind of. And I do get nervous, but I try to just change that over to excitement, and I just feed my brain with good thoughts, instead of, oh, I hope I don't miss, you turn into, oh, I can't wait to run the steer, and whatever happens. At the end of the day, I'm still going to have my wife. I'm still going to have my horses. I'm still going to have my family.
Yeah. They can't eat you.
Happens. Yeah, whatever happens, I'm going to be good, and we're going to keep going. So,
yeah. So what's obviously the plan going forward is to catch everything. But some guys come in here and they kind of got them a little plan. Like, we're just going to stay chipping away. Like Colby Payne was saying, we're just going to stay chipping away. What's your guys' plan of attack?
Snowballs wants to go for the throat. He wants to catch up, and then he wants to go
it.
from there. And I do too. It could, whatever happens, but he's wanting to play some catch up right here and get to where we want, and then go from there.
Let's real quick back up. That's his nickname?
Snowballs.
Well,
that's pretty awesome.
You got Snowman, you got Snowbird, you got Snowballs, you got Rodeo Red.
yeah.
Snowball's got to be the best, though.
The Red Fox.
I wish I would have known that yesterday when he was on.
Well, Debo, Caesar knows Debo.
Yeah.
He calls him Snowballs. So
Snowballs, there you go.
Well,
yeah.
let's talk about Debo just a little bit. You and him are partners on some really, some spot on, very nice heel horses, and we can talk a little bit about that. You had some good luck this year at the Rope Horse for Charity, and Some of the horses you're bringing up are phenomenal.
Well, thank you. JD, he's become one of my best friends, and it all started with that horse I'm riding here. We call him Crypto. He's 6 this year, and I rodeoed on him all summer. And JD is one of the best in the business as far as, and you've rode one of his
Yes.
horses here too, the Big Sorrel Baldface. But
Uno.
that was a great horse. JD knows a lot more about horses than anybody would think, I think, and he's really good at buying them, and he's bought a lot of 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds, and we started out with them, and we start roping on them, and then our goal is, we're not really in the business of selling them to make money. Our goal is to have a great herd, and I told somebody the other day, our kind of goal is to be the Caleb Driggers of heel horses.
If you got number ones and somebody's looking for a horse, they can come buy them at any time.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And they cost so much. If my good horse goes down, and that's the only horse I got, I've got to find a way to come up with $150,000, to replace him. But if I can buy them for, anywhere from 15 to 25 to 30 when they're 2s and 3s, all I have after that is my time invested in them, and that's a lot cheaper route.
And if you go to get one, you've been the one riding
Absolutely.
it.
I know
That's got to be
hand.
something, right? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Hunters come from humble beginnings. I've seen your whole career. It's like Kobe. I've kind of caught in between the old school and the new school of healing. I got to see a lot of these great young healers come up, and it wasn't always like that. You've had to make your horses and kind of get them good, and then you traded them off, got a little better one, and now you kind of got an idea of what you're looking for in a horse, what they need to be able to do, and it's like, man, your career's taken off.
Well, thank you. JD's done a great job too of like buying size and conformation, and he pays a lot of attention to the pedigree, which we've all heard the old saying, you can't ride papers, but in the cutting and the cow horse they do.
They do,
and they're really good. And he pays a lot of attention to the mare line and what mares are producers and what mares aren't. And the stud's not as important to him, but like when he's buying a colt, he really pays attention to the mare line. And if he's out of a good mare and the second dam's a really good mare, our chances of that horse working went up a lot, and it's worked. We've probably got at least 10 or 12 of them now together, and they've all seemed to have a pretty good chance of making it.
The special ones do special things, right?
Absolutely.
I love mares. I think they got a little more try, and I feel like the colts a lot of the times will follow the personality, especially if they've been out together and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
They come up with a little bit of the same personality. Let's talk a little bit about that. What bloodlines are you kind of into?
So to be honest with you, we've got a little bit of everything. There's not really a set, stud or mare that we've been buying out of, except for Crypto. His mama, her name's Sheree. She's a dual ray mare that's produced a lot, and we've got 2 out of that mare. And Crypto is by a son, a highbrow cat named Canterbury Cat, and Crypto's 3/4 brother is by a highbrow cat. But they're both out of that mare. Her name's Sheree, which she died this year, so there won't be any more of those.
Man, that crop of colts going to go up.
We have yes. We have 2 metallic rebels. One is out of a one-time Pepto mare. He's a 2-year-old stud, and he's a really nice colt. I haven't seen him yet. TJ Good's been riding him.
Beautiful thing. I love that guy's training.
He's I'll get him probably next month, January or so, and start roping on him. And then I have another metallic rebel 3-year-old that's at the house, and I really like him. They seem to be good-minded, the metallic rebels. They seem to be really easy trainers, kind of like the metallic cats. They're pretty good trainers, and the rebels seem to be the same way. And we have 2 colts. I have a 4-year-old and a 3-year-old by Metellus cat, and they can fly.
Yes.
Solo Select just bought that stud, and we actually had them colts before they bought that stud, but both of them colts can fly. And I was high callback on one of them at the Gold Buckle Fraternity the other day. He's a 4-year-old, but he was high callback in the 6 and under, and I ended up 4th on him. Made a good run the short round. Just some other horses made some better runs, but.
How you liking that rope horse futurity thing? We went to a couple. We really think it's cool.
Man, it's cool. It's done so much for the horse market, I think. And just like now, I mean, if there wasn't the futurity, we wouldn't be talking about pedigrees as much as we are.
Right. And the horses they're going up because of it. The price.
Yeah, it seems like the more that gets popular, the more we end up talking about that.
Well, and I was watching the bloodstock sale. I think a couple days ago was the last day, but I think the average on the 2-year-olds was 95,000.
Yes, very cool. Very cool.
I mean, just the cut and the cow horse and the rope horse world is all just blowing the roof off the market.
Yellowstone just really
Yellowstone paying off again. There you go.
But the cool part about the roping, and to me, futurities, that's better than in my opinion, better than the cutting and the cow horse deal is. So say Caesar trains this show horse, and he wins on him through the futurities. Well, then when Caesar's done with him, some number 5 or 6 can take him and ride him from the time he's 6 till he's 20 at the World Series. In the cutting, you can't really do that. I mean,
I seen I was scrolling through Facebook this morning. The number 7 at the World Series yesterday pay $108,000.
Yep. No.
Number 7,
and that's what's beautiful about our sport is we can all do it.
Yeah,
and we can all,
and a lot of other people can do it.
Well, like Debo, he just got here today. JD, he's roping in the 16, 15, 14. I mean, he's entered from that to the 12, I think. And he's got a chance to win double what I have a chance to win.
Right. Exactly.
So it's pretty cool.
We do kind of talk about that a little bit, and obviously there's a reason you guys can't run down the street and rope down there, because when you're going to look at, well, if I stay here for the short round and I'm going to make this, or I go over the Tolleson Mack and I'm going to make this.
Or even cut a finger off or something like that. You know what I mean?
Well, that's pretty obvious, but man, that does kind of suck that they won't let you guys go down there.
Yeah, and it's just a great opportunity. Though.
Yeah.
And for the horses,
for sure.
Just like all these colts, they have life after their futurity life, and that's cool.
Yeah, they're not like a racehorse where when the racehorse is done, it's burned out, it goes on. You're exactly right. Some guy's going to buy it and go on and rope.
Well, that's
on
why
it.
the market is so high for the futurities, because then guys can actually afford to go buy one after they're done.
And I had an argument with a guy the other day who was like, his argument was, I can't see the futurity world growing past where it's at. And I was like, what do you mean? I was like,
it seems to be in its infancy to me.
Well, it costs a lot, right? To play the game, it costs a lot. I mean, you're going to have to buy a dream. Nothing's set in stone. So you're buying a dream that costs a lot. You're spending $25, $30 for a 2-year-old. And then you're going to train him, put him in training at $1,500 to $2,000 a month for however long. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get it. It's a lot. But then after you're done, you got a chance of winning $250,000 every year over here at South Point.
Yeah.
So over the course of, say he wins $100,000, which is very realistic now over his 3 years of showing, 4, 5, 6-year-old year. Well, that paid for a lot of that. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to ride him from the time he's 6 to he's 20. If you can't get your money back on that, you probably don't need to be roping anymore.
And your kid's probably going to be able to ride him, because when they get to that level, they've been rode and handled and hauled and, everything. They're general broke. That
absolutely,
that says a whole lot, just right there.
Let's talk a little bit about horse show healing versus rodeo healing. I'm excited about to have you on the podcast today, because I've watched you a lot, and you're a guy that scores at the shows. They like your style, they like your horse, and then you can come to the rodeo and still have a cool style, a style that a young horse can follow, but you can still go rodeo and win and compete at the highest level. It's really cool. To me, you're like a Joseph Harrison, like a younger version of Joseph Harrison. You bet. So like that's kind of why I like watching you. But like, talk to us a little bit about the differences between rodeo healing versus show healing.
So to me, I think at the horse shows, a good run looks good, and it's all eye appeal, right? So translating that over to the show world, I don't try to change much mentally. I'm still down the arena trying to get ahead of the steer, set myself up for a good shot and take a good shot. And I think that looks good in theory and should score. But the main thing I try to do is I try to have my body quieter looking, if that makes sense. I've watched Joseph so much, and I know y'all have too. Joseph's real quiet with his left hand, and he sits on them horses. He almost hunkers down like when he dallies, and And, you know, when he throws his rope and it slacks real pretty, and then everything just like hunkers down and gets still right there. And so from the time of leaving the box to setting up the shot, it's pretty similar to how I want to do it every day. But the quiet look afterwards is something that I've learned a lot from Joseph and tried to do.
So this would be a question I would ask if I was listening. If you watch the bull riding, or okay, here's an easy one. If you watch the saddle bronc riding, you watch the right boys go, and they just make it look flawless. I mean, just so easy for them. And then some first time qualifier guy goes out there, gets on the same horse that the Wright brother, and he's hanging on by a pinky nail, right? But it's the same horse, same style, but he's going to score more points because he makes it look harder. Do you think that the smooth show, I mean, is there any correlation in that? Is it
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? Like if you make
Absolutely.
it, you know, a little bit showier, it's going to score a little better.
Well, absolutely, because, you know, you could put a bunch of videos in front of Caesar and have him zone in on the horse, right? And he can watch the horse and he can go, man, that horse is good. That horse is good. That horse is good. But the scores will all be different, right? Well, if you run in there, say the horse looks the exact same as Joseph's, but he scores 5 points less. Well, if you go to dissect the run, you know, and his loop barely gets the left leg and his slack ain't real pretty, kind of bobbles to the horn, and then he kind of doesn't look like he's just real still dallying, like as far as the human, not the horse. And he's kind of, you know, that's all eye appeal. And that's what the show world is, right?
Yeah.
So even though if you just zoned in on the horse, you're like, man, that horse was great right there.
That's why
It's still a look.
I bring that up a little bit because at the shows I haven't scored as high as I've wanted to. I'm kind of a guy that's a kind of a rodeo style roper. Go to the shows and like I got to work on my left hand. I got to be a little more quieter in my upper body. The rodeos I've run to the end of it, dally, pull back.
Yeah.
It's a different deal, and like I that's why I admire about your type of healing. And like when you were growing up, did you mentioned TJ Good a little while ago? Did you get to spend time with those kind of guys when you were younger to learn how to be more still, how to use your legs? Because of the shows, they want you to keep your left hand real still and let the horse look like he's doing all the work by himself. But it's like the cutting. You're doing a lot of work with your legs, though. Right. You know.
I was around two really good horsemen. One was he was my rodeo coach at Vernon College. I went there for 2 years, and he never showed much or anything. But his horses, he raised horses, started them, trained them, healed on them, and he was a 9 healer. So I mean, they were nice, and he started from the time they hit the ground to the finished product. So I got to watch a lot of that. And then there's a guy named Chris Littlefield, who's a great hand. He's shown and done good, and he's from Henrietta, Texas, which is right down the road from where I grew up in Vernon. So I spent a lot of time there. And then I was blessed enough, good Lord gave me the blessing of being a visual learner. So I can watch videos and try to emulate it and watch myself. So, you know, watching Joseph a lot has helped me because I can see what Joseph's doing and I can try to recreate it, and then I'll either tweak it here or there. But, you know, and just same way with my rodeo career, you know, my biggest hero was Caesar when I was young. You probably don't know that.
But he does now.
I thought Big Gay and Caesar were the coolest. You know, when I was in the living room watching them when I was young, I mean, I thought that was the coolest team. Big Gay ducking them back, Caesar going around the end of it and just laying.
Just
everybody
mad.
I'm going to set the record straight. Everybody thinks Junior was the first guy to lay it back.
No.
Caesar was the first.
Why do you think Bucky does it so good?
Mean to the feet, man.
And he had that bay heel horse, and I mean, just rare back on. I mean, I thought that was cool. So, and then I would watch that, and then at home practice, and I could try.
You could be Caesar.
So like before I knew what get to the end of it and healing was, I seen it and I could, and then people would be like, "Man, you really know how to go around the end of it," and I'm like, I don't even know what that means, but thanks. But I seen these guys do it, you know, and I could.
I first seen him in Guyman at a little jackpot out there, and man, like he was just this young guy. You couldn't have been but 18. You were probably just in college right there, but doing it right. Had a big. I mean, he probably wasn't heel horse side, big long head, you know, big high headed horse, but he made this sucker drag around there and make him look pretty good. And it's like, man, that was the first time I got to see Hunter, and I'm like, man, this is not gonna be the last time I see this kid, I'm sure. and like now we're
I'm
here.
glad it was.
Now we're here.
Now we're here watching him at the big show.
I love it, man. I'm caught in between the old school and the new school. Like I said, I got to go to the NFR with Clay Cooper and all these guys, and then,
But I think you helped. I think you were the building bridge to the new school.
it was awesome, man.
Because there was a lot of guys inside ahead of them, heel them on the first or second, but like Caesar was one of the first ones I see like dang near could pass the steer if his horse wasn't working, but he wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like around him.
I always questioned when I got tell people just catch a couple times. I'm like, what if I can get to the end of it and catch? Say if I got to catch 10 steers that day, why can't I run to the end of it and catch 10 of them in a row as fast as I can first legal pop? Like, and I was kind of when I was going to high school rodeos and stuff, I was kind of had a argument with Brad Smith about that. He'd come around there and just catch some steers, but I'm in a good spot. I want to fire it right there.
He's jumping.
And yeah. And so that's kind of where my whole style started. It's like, man, I need the money. You don't understand. Like,
absolutely.
Same way with you. Like every chance I have, I need to throw fast because that might be a day money check or anything. Anytime I have a chance to win some money, I'm gonna take that opportunity. And so that's kind of where the whole style come about.
Well, and then
but
after
then
you
now
see
you guys are all doing it, it's like, man.
Well, and that's why I think you kind of started the bridge towards the new schools because like you didn't see guys doing that, and then slowly but surely there's more and more. And like me, I thought because we didn't have the Cowboy Channel and stuff when I was that young, so like the only time I really got to watch the best guys was at the NFR, and I'm like, well, that's where I'm wanting to go, and that's how they're healing.
That's how they're doing it.
So I'm at the 8 Point in Vernon, Texas on Wednesday night, just running around the end of it, wham, catching half of them, missing half. But I thought, all right, this is how you're supposed
Man, I had to battle it out with Rich Skelton and Clay Cooper and these guys, and they never missed, man. The only way I could figure out how to win is I got to throw faster than those guys. Somehow I got to throw faster than those guys, and that's the only way I'm going to beat them.
That's what rodeo is now, is like, who's the fastest?
Well, NFR, man, like it was 4-7 last hole last night. Like that was a good round. I know it was tough. It was a tough round. A lot of teams dropped out, but man, there was still
there was a lot of teams drop out. Huh?
7/10 separated first from the end, man.
That makes me feel a little better.
A lot, dude. Like almost half, Hunter.
them guys,
like this is that pin of steers. You guys are going to see them 3 more times, and that pin of steers is the toughest ones. I don't know.
They're strong.
I haven't seen the rest of them, but that pin of steers is tough. Man.
And I think the world record's going to get broke this year because like that was our strong ones, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, them other steers are crazy.
So tonight, they're a little bigger, huh?
Yes, but I think they're a little bit easier than that other set, just because we had that jackpot on them. Used to, we didn't have the jackpot. The last few years, we started jackpotting them before they came here. But like, even though those steers are big, they got good strides. They're going to handle good, And then the other set of steers, the third set, is where that's our TV pin.
Yeah,
it's going to sound like a gun range in there when that pin of steers comes in.
That's awesome. Do you still get them nerves, man?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you've been there a couple times. We talked to Colby a little bit about it, like how cool the grand entry is, and then you're walking around, you still have that adrenaline rush going, and then when they call your name up there and line you up, and it's just like you're ready, like you're a gladiator, right? Like
like me and Champ, we've become really good friends. We talk quite a bit, and like our deal is, or he preaches to me, you need to stay at a level 5, not a 10, not a 1, just even keel, like mentally, so you're not doing too much or not enough or whatever. I text him at like 6:00 yesterday morning. I'm walking around the room and I'm like, Champ, I'm trying to stay at a 5, but I feel like I could headbutt this wall right now. I want to run this
through this wall and fly right now, man.
I want to run this cow right now.
I like that.
Colby said he texted his header and said, would it be weird if I was the first one there at 6 this morning saddling my horse?
Swinging my rope and just kind of
swinging the rope.
So funny part about Colby last night, Colby's riding my old horse Casino on the grand entry, and he's got his good horse Coon, and we're riding around the tent before the grand entry, and Clay's like, did you bring a halter for Coon? Colby's like, no, I was just going to tie him up with my reins. And Clay goes, rookies, man. Colby, you think this is the place to break your reins at?
Yeah.
You want to ride in there with half a rein over there in the Tolleson Mack? He's like, get a freaking halter. And then he shakes his head. He's like, rookies.
Just he's a learner. He'll figure it out.
All right,
we're build the fire out of that one.
We're gonna take a little break here, get something to drink, and we'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to part 2 of the Tolleson Mack, brought to you by Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation.
Yep, and Turtle Box.
Those guys are cool. You got a Turtle Box?
No, but I want one.
Let's get you one. We get him one.
We try.
I think we probably
we hook him up.
All right, Hunter, we're back, man. So great first half. Talked about a lot of horses, which we like to always talk about them. But let's talk about the good stuff, man. Let's talk about some rodeo stories. What's your favorite rodeo you go to?
I always tell everybody in the winter it's Houston, in the summer it's Reno. Those are the two best. Houston, you've been there, Caesar, a lot. That place is rank. The hospitality, the packed out place, the concert afterwards, and then seems like when you get to Reno, in the spring we all go to a bunch of little rodeos all spring, and it's kind of building up to the summer, and you've been working hard and you've been practicing hard, and then you get to the first perf at Reno, and it's like, I'm back.
Yes.
I'm back.
What's your favorite little rodeo?
I've got a bunch of little rodeos I like. I like in the Northwest Walla Walla.
That is a cool rodeo.
If you get to run them both in the slack, you get to see everybody. Everybody's blasting. There's pressure. Everybody's trying to, on the bubbles, trying to make it. It's a good, cool feel.
People have never been to OMAC. Explain OMAC for some of the
Caesar,
people.
I've never been to OMAC.
You've never been to OMAC?
Never.
Caesar, you better break it down.
Okay,
that's
that's
gonna
one
have
of
to
my
break it.
favorite small rodeos right there, because they have the suicide race where they run
down
these
the
horses down the hill,
Oh,
and
I've seen
they
that.
swim them across the river, and they come into the arena. Okay,
I've seen videos.
and it's like a giant round pin. That's all it is. It's a hard place to rope, because like the steer can go like way to the right or way
Left,
to the
right,
left, and
whatever.
it's when the header gets it, it's like a hard angle to rope. But man, you show up, it's on a reservation. There's not like I think there's
So that's getting Western
I,
right
I
there.
think I eat in the Denny's every year I've ever been there. There's a breakfast, lunch, or dinner at the Denny's, and then but they'll have every morning they'll have newspaper. Somebody got in a wreck in the suicide race.
Yeah, I mean,
some-
look at
so-
what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
somebody's gonna crash.
It looks like it's just.
It looks straight down.
So I walked up it. It's really steep, and then I kind of run at the end of it, and it was like 10 or 15 feet before I hit. So like it's
you
straight
jumped
down.
it.
Yeah, I jump on foot, and then I kind of run down it, and I kind of roll down there because it's sandy, and like it's a heck of a deal.
How long ago were you there, Caesar?
Shoot, it's had to have been 2000, I think, in 18 maybe.
Where does that
19.
fall in the rodeo season? That rodeo.
It's in the
summer and
it's in the Northwest Run. It's
okay.
it's kind of right there toward the end.
Is it before Caldwell?
It's kind of right there. Same time.
Same time.
Same time in that same time.
He said I
But-
rolled down a little bit.
No, it's a fun place over there. They're all having a great time.
Any good stories about snowballs?
Man, we got a lot of good stories about snowballs. He's just a character.
So you guys have been friends for a long time since you
Yeah.
guys kind
You
of
had
started.
to be friends with.
So
a
you
guy
guys
for a
same
long
age,
time,
right?
His nickname
Yeah.
Snowballs.
Yeah, like they rodeoed at the same time. They come at the PRC at the same time.
First year I made the finals, 2019. I roped with Bub Buckley all winter, and then Wesley Thorpe was having his second kid, so he stayed home about the time the California run started. So Cody Snow calls me. He's like, "Hey, you want to go to California?" And I'm like, "Sure." And we did really good out there, and then that summer I started roping with Matt Sherwood. But that's when I first really got to know Snow, and we've been good friends ever since. But the best part about roping with him is we're good enough friends too. I can be pretty real with him.
That's what he was saying
Like,
yesterday.
if I don't
Well, he
like
did say that.
if I don't like practice, I'm like, "Hey, this sucks. You're doing terrible," or I'm doing That's the best part about roping with him is we can be real with each other. It's fun.
Is that hard when you kind of do pair up with a guy and trying to get to that level? You know,
Well,
what I mean?
when I was roping with Luke had won so much more than me, and he was veteran. You don't ever want to talk about if you don't like how practice is going or whatever. Because he's here and I'm here, but like with me and Cody, I can be like, "Hey, dude, what are we doing?" or whatever.
You ever have any wrestling matches after a practice session because you guys have just had enough of each other?
No, man, his arms are too long.
That dude is pretty tall.
I've wrestled with him a little bit. He is hard to wrestle with. He
We've
is
had
tall.
some screaming matches, but never.
It's like Tanner and Caesar when they go roping over there. It's like,
Yeah.
shit.
It's a good thing though, I think, to kind of get communicate a little bit, and I think
Yeah.
that's what kind of helps you guys out in your careers, is especially this year. I know that there was a point in the around Pendleton time, you guys were really needing to win, man. You needing every dollar, You felt like you needed every dollar at that time, but like it turned out, you guys did pretty good. You guys got in here the way you guys wanted to. But let's talk about that a little bit.
Man, it was a grind. That last few weeks was hard. And we get to Pendleton, and it's one of them deals where you're like, you need to do good here because I wasn't into Sioux Falls, and we needed to do good. And first one we go, and in case anybody doesn't know, snow's the nastiest header ever at Pendleton, so I felt good about it.
Yes.
And we go 4-5 on the first one. I get a leg, and it's just like, now I'm like, we got to be 4-2 or better on the next one to make the short round. And snow just wipes the barrier out, 4 flat.
Arena record.
Set the new arena record.
Unbelievable too. Like, fudge, man, that's fast.
It was awesome.
He talked about that yesterday. Roping it.
4 flat at Pendleton, man. Can you? I just can't believe how
Snow.
fast
He has no fear, and he has no back off in him ever. Like, he's not going to be the guy that's going to overthink the loper. If he's got the loper, he's going to try to be 2 on him, and that's what he did.
That's gotta feel good, right? I mean, as the healer, you're backing in there with a guy that has no backup, and it's ready to go. Is that a good feeling, or is that a like, oh shit, what's he gonna do feeling?
No, I know what he's gonna do. It's like he's gonna try to turn this one to win first, and I like that about him. It makes my job easy.
Is it hard healing behind, or maybe a little harder healing behind them guys like that here at the finals because they run out of room so quick?
No, to me, it's all the same. Healing here, which Caesar's healed here a lot too. You just got to be aggressive. Whether you running past halfway or before halfway, down the arena for sure. Just aggressive and being after the cow is the best way to heal here, I think.
Do they step a little over?
Sometimes they step left, but usually
there was one that stepped bad to the right last night.
And
really fell over there.
Step right's hard. Right down the middle's great feeling here, and a step left here. Horrible. I feel like you just need to be far enough around them to where you can dang sure heal them on the first jump.
You got to get another stride up there. Step left. But they're straight. It's like they're right there. Everything sets up.
What we've not talked about with anybody yet this year, and we'll break it out with you, is replay. What do you think?
I love it. I think that's good. I think
well overdue.
The one man making a call off something that happened that fast is a hard job. We can criticize the judges all we want, but it's hard. And now that it takes a little pressure off us too, because I'd like to put the pressure on him to make the call, and then if he can replay it and see it, that just helps my odds more, because them steers are so big, they're swinging down the arena a lot.
And he's on the opposite side. He's on the inside, right? So we've talked about that before. If he was sitting on the buck and shoots and he could see the outside, maybe that would be a different.
And
the run is coming to you.
Yeah,
you can create an illusion with the crossfire jump too. Further down the arena I get, the more he doesn't look like it's a crossfire. If I'm inside and he's swinging out, oh man, it looks like a crossfire. But I can set it up, or not me, but everybody can set it up better with good position. But sometimes you're not, and you take the shot anyways, and it looks like a crossfire. Well, if he can go back and watch it, that kind of helps our case a little bit.
I think this is first year, right? They'll work all the bugs out. But like watching last night, I was watching over at the Palms, and Cheech was kind of helping us out watching the live, the people in the crowd sitting there. And they would just say under review. And that was it. Like at least at the PBR, they kind of stop what's going on. It's under review. And I don't know if they will ever do that, stop what's going on, because they want to get them back in the casino so fast. But when they're saying it's under review, it would be nice if they would, maybe give a little more of an explanation or what they're looking at or whatever,
Well, I think it's kind of like the NFL right now, too. They got their headquarters in New York or whatever, and, they'll be, as the game's going on, they'll say, oh, they're looking at it in New York. Yeah. So the game's still going on, and then, all right, after they get the call back from the headquarters or whatever, then they're like, oh, yeah, it's good. It's probably kind of the same thing.
Need to send the judges over to a blue tent.
I bet they got somebody upstairs watching it.
When the rodeo, they're not saying we're back in Vermont. They need to say we're back in Texas trying to find it.
Yeah, so and then as a spectator, if we stop the rodeo, we're all looking at the big screen.
Everybody's gonna have an opinion then.
It's nice that things keep moving.
Yeah,
there's another set of people up there. Okay, we're good to go. Or that was a crossfire. Or that was a no time.
Yeah. What happens when it's the 15th team? They got to go to the next event, and they got it under review.
Well, usually there's a short break in between events anyway, so it probably helps
Probably help
if
them a
the
little bit.
15th team.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we just haven't talked about it with anyone, and I thought I'd bring it up to you because it seems like, obviously for the bull riding, they're going to want the replay for the touch or whatever, or foul, but it's very important to you guys.
Very, then the crossfire deal has almost made the judges hate team roping because it's so hard.
Yeah.
And you can't blame them. I mean, everybody's going to be mad if it goes one way or the other because we all feel like it's either right or wrong. But now there's no gray areas.
Yeah.
We all know, if a judge watches it back a second, third time, he's going to know whether, you need to quit belly aching. That was a crossfire for sure. Or, you know what, you're right. That was the right throw. We can go on.
Well, yeah, I mean, for 33,000, somebody's going to build
Or a gold buckle or an average title.
Exactly.
Because crossfire's no time now.
Oh, yeah.
It's not 30.
So, I mean, then you start putting gold buckles and average titles in there, and it's very important.
Yeah.
And we have been talking about this. No matter what your lead is, coming into the finals, nothing's safe with as much money as at stake.
Well, like a team like me and Snow, we're playing catch up. We're going to be very aggressive. That could be the difference in us, a crossfire and not a crossfire.
Right.
Doing good.
All right. Well, we're going to let you get out of here.
Thank you.
Back to warming up the horses.
Appreciate it, Hunter. Thank you so much, buddy.
Good luck the rest of the week.